What's up, heroes? Zeus here. Two heroes just received the same health upgrade, but the in-game impact couldn't be more different. Stick around, because one of these skins quietly amplifies core mechanics, and the other only tells part of the story. Folio received a new health skin that adds plus 106,670 health at max level. To understand what this actually means, we need to look at Folio's total health before and after the skin, and then examine how this extra health interacts with his skills. Before the health skin, Folio sits at roughly 358,000 health. With the health skin fully upgraded, his total health rises to around 464,000. This is an increase of almost 30% total health, which is a very large jump for a hero that was previously relatively low on health. This is important because Folio's ink copies inherit his base health, armor, and magic defense. That means this health increase is not applied only once. It is effectively replicated onto every ink copy he creates. Each copy now has significantly more health, allowing it to stay alive longer and absorb more damage. When ink copies take damage, they trigger a weaker version of Mind Stealer on nearby enemies, either stealing intelligence or dealing magic damage. Because the copies live longer with higher health, they are hit more times, which results in more Mind Stealer activations over the duration of the skill. This directly increases Folio's overall contribution to the fight, even before his ultimate is cast. The health skin also strongly improves Folio's passive mechanics. When the ink copies expire, Folio swaps places and health with the copy that has the most health remaining. With higher base health, it is much more likely that at least one copy survives with a meaningful amount of health left, allowing Folio to re-enter the fight with a larger health pool. If Folio dies while ink copies are still active, he revives by taking the place of the copy with the highest remaining health and gains 100% of that copy's health. Because the copies now have much more health, this revive becomes significantly stronger. In practice, this means Folio is far more likely to return to the fight with a healthy amount of HP instead of dying immediately after revival. There is one mechanical downside that always comes with increased health: heroes gain energy based on percentage of health lost, not raw damage. Since Folio now has more maximum health, he needs to take more raw damage to gain the same amount of energy. This slightly delays his ultimate. However, this delay does not meaningfully hurt Folio. His ink copies, intelligence, steal, and passive swap mechanics all function independently of energy. In fact, a slightly later ultimate can even benefit Folio, because the intelligence difference between him and the enemy team often becomes larger over time due to repeated Mind Stealer effects. Since his ultimate damage scales with the intelligence difference, a delayed cast can deal equal or even higher damage. In summary, Folio's new health skin provides a very large survivability increase, strengthens his ink copies, increases the number of Mind Stealer triggers, and significantly improves both his swap and revive mechanics. While it does slightly slow down his ultimate charge, this has no real negative impact on his gameplay, and can even be indirectly beneficial. For Folio specifically, this health skin is not just extra buffer health, it directly enhances the core mechanics of his kit and is one of his more impactful defensive upgrades. Now let's talk about Lyria, because her winter skin works very differently compared to Folio. Lyria also receives a health increase from her winter skin, adding a little over 100,000 health at max level. On paper, that looks similar to Folio's bonus, but in practice the impact is much smaller. Lyria already sits at around 1 million health, so this upgrade represents roughly a 10% increase, not a major stat shift. Unlike Folio, Lyria's abilities do not scale with health. Her ultimate skill, Soul Reaper, is driven by physical attack and soul collection, not survivability. Her bonds of alliance, her summon spirits, and her passive effects all operate independently of her health pool. This means the Winter Skin does not increase her damage, her control, or her scaling potential. What the extra health really does is improve Lyria's survivability. It gives her more room to stay alive when she is exposed to pressure, especially in aggressive setups where players place her closer to the front line or run her without a traditional tank. In those situations, the Winter Skin acts as a safety buffer rather than a power spike. This effect becomes even smaller when Lyria is paired with Aiden. Aiden can add more than 600,000 health through his support mechanics, which already slows energy gain and massively increases survivability. In those teams, the additional 100,000 health from the Winter Skin has very little influence on gameplay, and does not meaningfully change ultimate timing or fight outcomes. So while Folio's Winter Skin changes how his mechanics function, Lyria's Winter Skin is mostly about comfort. It helps her survive mistakes, withstand early pressure, and feel more stable in unconventional team setups. It does not redefine her role, and it does not turn her into a scaling threat. For players who use Lyria behind a dedicated tank, the Winter Skin primarily adds additional survivability without changing her core gameplay. In more aggressive setups, or in teams that rely heavily on positioning and support instead of frontline protection, the extra health can provide additional stability and forgiveness during combat. Overall, the Winter Skin enhances Lyria's durability in certain situations, while her fundamental mechanics and role remain unchanged, especially when compared to the more mechanically transformative impact seen with Folio. By the way, I'm testing a new format on the website with more visuals and less text, designed to be easier to read on both desktop and mobile. If you check out the article, I'd really appreciate your feedback on whether this style works better for you than the older, text-heavy guides. To sum it up, Folio and Lyria may get the same health stat, but the impact is completely different. On Folio, the Health Winter Skin strengthens his entire kit, tougher ink copies, more Mind Stealer value, stronger swaps, and far more reliable revives. It's not just survivability, it directly enhances how he functions in battle. On Lyria, the Winter Skin is about stability. It helps her survive pressure in aggressive setups, but it doesn't change her scaling or redefine her role, especially when strong support is already present. Let me know in the comments how these skins are working for you. If this helped, like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications, so you don't miss the next breakdown. Play smart, test everything, and I'll see you in the next fight.